Indeed, these extraordinary wetlands have a history dating back several millions of years, which makes them unique. The esteros are located in the province of Corrientes, on the border between Argentina and Paraguay. Covering 1.3 million hectares, they're one of the largest wetland areas in the world. This basin was formed over thousands of years by the migration of the Piranha River, the second longest river in South America. With the passage of time and the movement of the Earth's crust, the riverbed has changed constantly. As the river receded, it left behind these vast wetlands. Fed by many other rivers coming from Brazil, the Piranha River flows continuously into the esteros. But the wetlands are also very dependent on rainwater, which has only increased with climate change. This excess water drains gently away to the south. The luxuriant local flora includes many aquatic species, which provide a habitat for hundreds of diverse animal species. The waters of Ibera are indeed home to an abundant wildlife. One of the key species in this aquatic environment is the black caiman. This reptile, which can grow to over 7 meters in length, is found in large numbers in the park's clear waters. Here, they rarely exceed 2.5 meters. Indeed, after being hunted for many years for their high-quality leather and to protect cattle, these super predators nearly became extinct. Once again play a vital role within the Ibera ecosystems. Their excrement serves as fertilizer for the plants, and by regulating the fish population, they encourage diversity. It's partly thanks to them that you can observe the famous piranhas, alongside other fish well known to aquarists. However, in order to restore the diversity that used to exist, a huge amount of work has been necessary.
As we began to work here, it was so evident, so quickly, that this was a gold mine of biodiversity and that much of it had gone extinct. So even in its early stages, the organic process of beginning to understand what it really meant to restore some place took on a whole new dimension for us. So it was at this point when we began looking for people who had the inspiration, the background, and interest to join us in creating what eventually became our Rewilding project.
One of those people is Sebastian Di Martino. Having arrived a few years ago, he's now the coordinator of the various rewilding projects started by the Trust.
In Ibera, we can tell that in the second half of the 19th century and the 20th century, many species of birds and mammals died out. These species were no longer able to maintain their populations naturally. The CLT is a trust whose aim is to halt the crisis caused by the collapse of biodiversity. Our action is part of a process that can be related to a concept we call nature production. What we actually do is create national parks. So we work directly in the territories. These parks start out as land that we buy and give back to the state. Our approach also often aims to actively influence the movements and displacements of wildlife. Sometimes we organize these displacements to increase the number of individuals of one species in a given area, and at other times we're simply reintroducing a species that has become extinct.
One of the species targeted by these actions is the pampas deer. Formerly common in the region, this small deer is now at high risk of extinction in Argentina. Fewer than 2,000 individuals remain, with none in conservation areas. So the Trust has made an agreement with a forestry company, which has one of the last remaining populations of deer, to capture some individuals and transfer them to Ibera. Thanks to the help of private donors, the deer are transported by helicopter to their new home as quickly as possible. It's a crucial time for Sebastian and his team, as pampas deer are delicate animals. After a few hours recovery, they'll go into the acclimatization enclosure to get used to their new environment. And then they'll join the other deer in the group. This small population of 150 individuals, the largest in a conservation area, has started to reproduce and should become an important pool for safeguarding the species.
The Ibera National Park is well and truly in existence now and is administered by the National Parks Department of the Argentinian state. However, we have a 10-year agreement stipulating that we'll continue the process of species reintroductions that we're working on until it's complete. So until we consider that the populations of these species are sufficient to ensure their future. In parallel, our motivation is to continue working within the park, since although we're a private entity, our aim is to strengthen the public asset. So we insist that the Argentinian national parks are well maintained, such that the National Parks Administration, the states, the province, and the nation are involved as much as possible, so they can look after them without us, because that's the best way to set our goals and to plan our activity in the long term.